after suffering what's been termed a medical episode. This according to a campaign spokesperson. Clinton was recovering at her daughter Chelsea's apartment. For more on that, we now cross live to our reporter Sherwin Brycepiece, who's in New York. Sherwin, thanks very much for joining us. What do we know about this medical episode?
Well, the Clinton campaign, Peter, would like us to believe that it is a medical episode that is now over. Mrs. Clinton was, according to a statement from one of her spokespeople, Nick Merrill, rushed from that 9/11 ceremony this morning, the annual event that happens downtown, to her daughter's apartment, Chelsea's apartment in Manhattan. And just moments ago, Peter, we've seen the video of her exiting that apartment, waving at the gathered press outside. Clearly a lot of interest in this. They're saying that she's feeling much better, she's feeling great, and that it's a beautiful day. She then subsequently got back into her vehicles and, we're told, has now returned to her home in upstate New York, where she will continue with the business of the day. So clearly a concern. I can tell you that she was at that ceremony earlier this morning, the annual event at Ground Zero, paying tribute to the fallen victims and their families, along with her fellow presidential candidate, Republican Donald Trump. They were standing during that ceremony. It is warm in New York, not that warm today as it has been the last couple of days, but certainly into the 30s over the last number of days. High humidity, so clearly an issue there. She left the ceremony early. I've also just seen, Peter, video of her stumbling, her knees buckling as her aides helped her into the van. It's not a great video to see when someone's legs buckle below them, but she was helped into the van, taken to Chelsea's apartment, and has since walked out on her own, waved at the cameras and said she was fine.
All right, but no word exactly what the nature of that episode is. And I would imagine, as we're watching this, because the Trump campaign has been going on about Hillary Clinton's health, so all sorts of questions and balls will be thrown in the air over this.
Well, it has been something that the Republican and the conservatives in this country have raised in the past. I think you'll famously remember quite recently the former mayor of New York, who was incidentally down at the 9/11 ceremony, Rudy Giuliani, telling people at a campaign event for Trump that they should Google Secretary Clinton's health concerns online. They've been raising aspersions about her health. Look, her medical records, her doctor has released a statement saying that she is in perfect health to run for the presidency, but she does suffer from chronic ailments. She has an underactive thyroid for which she takes medication, and she's also been on blood thinners. You'll remember a number of years ago, Peter, she testified in front of the Benghazi Congressional Investigative Committee with very thick double-focus lenses in her spectacles. She had suffered a concussion from a blood clot, but that has since improved. Her condition has improved, according to her doctor. So clearly there's been a lot of speculation about whether she's in perfect health to assume what many regard as the toughest job in the United States, if she's fit to be commander-in-chief. And you will see that in this environment of the 24-hour news cycle and in the environment of an election campaign nearing its end, you will see a lot of this in the days and weeks ahead.
All right. Well, today is September 11. Just how has it been commemorated in New York today?
I think very victoriously in many ways. I think the downtown area, Peter, has been transformed from that destructive and devastating pit that so many people will remember after the collapse of those two towers 15 years ago. It's been regenerated. The area is bustling with business, with millions of tourists going down to the recently opened memorial that really reflects what happened on that day and tells the personal stories of some of the victims and the survivors. But also there's a huge shopping mall that has opened in the precinct. Offices have reopened. It's the tallest building, I think, in the Western Hemisphere, that Freedom Tower. So as much as this is a story about remembering that tragedy 15 years ago, it's also about the triumph of a city and a country in the face of unspeakable tragedy.
All right, and that's where we'll leave it. Sherwin, thank you very much indeed. That's Sherwin Brycepiece reporting there live from New York City following the medical episode from Hillary Clinton, who'd been attending some 9/11 commemorations there this morning. But as he was saying, it's almost a victorious overcoming that the Americans are celebrating at this time, remembering what happened there 15 years ago. And as we talk about that, the 15th anniversary of these 9/11 attacks with somber ceremonies in New York and Washington. The main ceremony took place at Ground Zero in New York, where 3,000 people were killed when 2 hijacked planes hit the World Trade Center. Government officials attended the service along with police and relatives of the victims. In Washington, 6 moments of silence were observed, 2 of them marking the time when the 2 hijacked planes hit the World Trade Center. In his weekly address yesterday, US President Barack Obama honored the memories of those who lost their lives. He also vowed to be relentless against groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. 19 hijackers died in the attack, later claimed by Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. The admission led to the US war in Afghanistan and indirectly to the invasion of Iraq.
We cannot give in to those who would divide us. We can't react in ways that erode the fabric of our society, because it's our diversity, our welcoming of all talents, our treating of everybody fairly, no matter their race, gender, ethnicity, or faith, that's part of what makes our country great. It's what makes us resilient, and if we stay true to those values, we'll uphold the legacy of those we've lost and keep our nation strong and free.